I'm James Rule. Welcome to the Lonely Leader podcast, where we help existing and aspiring leaders find clarity, build resilience, drive performance, and enhance fulfillment. Three powerful ways to enhance your mindset. That's the focus of today's episode. And for me, it's all about considering the quality of the input and the impact that has on determining the quality of the output. A silly couple of analogies to start things off. If you had a Formula One car, you wouldn't fill it full of tractor diesel and expect it to perform in the Grand Prix. If you were a marathon runner, you wouldn't prepare for the intensity of a race with a pizza and a bowl of ice cream. Now, I know they're somewhat left field analogies, but bringing it back to our mindset and our mental well-being, very few of us are consciously aware of the impact of what we're allowing as inputs. And so this episode is designed to prompt reflection on what's going in and to make you more focused on curating what you allow in and ensuring it's of the highest quality. So I'm going to focus on three core areas. And within those areas, I'm going to lay down a mini challenge that I'd love for you to embrace, experiment with, and feedback in terms of the results that you experience as a consequence. So the first area to focus on is news consumption. I'll articulate my former cycle of news consumption because I'm sure that will relate and resonate with many of you listening. It would start when I woke, wander into the kitchen. As I started to prepare breakfast, I would put the TV on and listen to the news. But then as I drove to work, I'd have the radio on. I'd hear several bulletins of the news, normally on a long journey. During the course of the day, if I was popping out to meetings, the car radio would be on, I'd hear the news again. And interspaced in between those radio bulletins, I'd be accessing my mobile phone, consuming news by going onto certain sites, but also having alerts pushed towards me by way of news notifications. And at the end of the day, guess what? I'd drive home, bit more news, and no doubt have some form of the news on at some stage of the evening on the TV, whether that was preparing for dinner or winding down at the end of the day. I'm sure many of you have a similar cycle, but the problem that we need to be consciously aware of is that modern day news is designed to shock, it's designed to elicit feelings of fear, anger, frustration. Now that might sound a little bit of a negative slant on modern day reporting, but the reality is we're given what we want. And those sensationalized and shocking headlines are what we click on when we go to digital news coverage. And because we click on it, we are fed more of that. And unfortunately, we're in a world where bad news sells. One of the things that we all need to reflect on is very little of what we hear we can do anything about. I'm a big advocate of the simple question, what can I control? Having a sense of control is a great way to build momentum, to reduce feelings of stress, and to enhance our mindset and our associated feelings of confidence. Conversely, when we're locked in environments where we feel like we don't have any control, it does the reverse. And unfortunately, as traumatic as a lot of the news coverage is, there's nothing we can do about it. And so repeated exposure to those feelings and those stress hormones that are accompanying those feelings actually putting us on the back foot. They're compromising our mindset, which in turn compromises our ability to optimize our professional performance and indeed to be fully present and optimize our personal performance in roles such as being a parent, a husband, a son, a sister, etc. So what's the challenge in this? Well, I personally experienced real difficulty with restricting my news consumption. I felt like it was ignorance to not know exactly what was going on in the world. But I quickly realized that actually the news that you hear first thing in the morning is often the news that you hear all through the day. It's just got a slight tweak, or perhaps it's been slightly repackaged with a different commentator offering their opinion on the facts that you've already heard. Therefore, my challenge to you is, can you experiment with reducing your exposure to the news? I'm not saying you have to go complete cold turkey, although many people do now, but perhaps you only listen in the morning and that's it for the day. Or perhaps you try and avoid it first thing in the morning so that you're more empowered as you step into your day and you catch up on the news later in the day. I guarantee if something truly noteworthy happens, it will find you. You don't need to be attached to every news bulletin to understand exactly what's going on. The second area I want to focus on is friendships. Now, this might sound a little bit ruthless, and apologies, but bear with me until I get to the end of this. Are your friends enhancing your energy or draining your energy? Are they boosting your mindset or disempowering your mindset? It might sound a little bit cheesy to say that life is not a dress rehearsal, but we only get one life. So why would we allow ourselves to compromise our own mindset, our own energy, and our ability to perform by being surrounded by negative people that drain us? If you need an acid test to determine whether you have energy boosters or drainers in your life, just reflect on your reaction when your mobile phone goes off and you see their name on the screen. I think you will be picturing people on both sides of the coin now as I say this, but there are people when you see it, brings a smile to your face, you grab the phone to answer it and you can't wait to have a conversation. There's your boosters. And equally, there's people where you take a breath, pause, consider, do I send this to voicemail or do I answer? They're your drainers. And please, I'm keen to stress, I'm not suggesting that you can't be a friend for someone in need. There will, of course, be times when people close to you are feeling down, are going through difficult personal or professional circumstances, and they need a sympathetic ear to try and process what's taking place. That's absolutely fine. And a good friend is always going to be there for that. I'm talking about the individuals that have a negative opinion for everything, the local sports team, the state of the economy, global politics, whatever it might be, they just bring a negative energy. And I would lay down the second challenge is orchestrate a little bit of a cull of those energy drainers. Remove them if you can. That's not always as easy in practice as it sounds in theory. So maybe just distance yourself a little bit from them and ensure that you can focus more on building and investing in the relationships with the people that truly boost you, that you get a sense of, wow, those people really care about me. They're there for me in the highs, they're there for me in the lows, they want the best for me. That's where your energy needs to be if you want to really enhance your mindset. And last but not least, the third area of focus is social media. Social media is fully embedded as a part of our everyday life. However, the challenge, as we all recognize, is that too many of us have become addicted to it. And I have a simple acid test for this as well. If you spend a significant amount of time scrolling on social media, when you step off the platforms, ask yourself, how did that make me feel? And if you come off the platform feeling energized, feeling motivated, feeling really positive from a mindset point of view, then that is evidently working for you. And there's no judgment here, but in my experience, the vast majority of people come off feeling anything but that. They feel frustrated, they feel overwhelmed, they feel envious, because a lot of the time, the comparison that has taken place has made them question what they're doing, make them question the progress they're making. And the reality is that it's such a false comparison. As we all know, very few people rush to social media to talk about the terrible aspects of their job, the terrible aspects of their relationship, how they're struggling as a parent, the poor performance of their children in the classroom. We don't do that. We just post the opposite, those isolated moments when everything's going very well. a great holiday, a good day, a moment when our child has really excelled at school. That's not every day. It can't be every day. The reality is there's highs and lows for all of us, but we don't really post the lows. So when you check in and look at other people's lives through social media, you see the highs, draw comparison to your day-to-day existence and feel deflated. And it is one of the biggest compromises of mindset that I have ever seen. So the challenge again is simply just to check it. Check how much time you're spending on it. And there's apps on your phone that can do that. Interesting stat I heard recently is most adults could now walk up the Statue of Liberty and back down each day with their thumb in terms of the amount of scrolling they do on the phone each day. So we're all guilty of getting drawn into that world, but how does it make you feel? And just like news consumption, if you become consciously aware of, actually, I'm finding this quite debilitating, I don't feel great when I come off, then start to try and reduce the exposure. Talk to your partner, talk to your children, ask them to challenge you when they see you just scrolling away at certain times of the day to put your phone down, to step away. Why is this all important? Well, mindset is the foundation on which everything's built. It's all right knowing what we should do, but if you have got a disempowered mindset, if you're feeling down in the dumps, it's very difficult to get any sort of momentum in anything that matters. Running alongside that, one of the biggest challenges that is presented to me by clients when I ask them to articulate what is the biggest barrier to you achieving your goals? Why are you not at that point yet? What is stopping you reaching your goals? It is a lack of time. A lack of time is the most frequently expressed challenge to achievement. And when we look at these three areas that I've talked about in this episode, news consumption, spending time with people that don't really energize us, we're just doing it out of force of habit or sense of obligation, and mindless scrolling on social media, they are three of the biggest time drains you're going to come across. So stealing some of that time back for your own growth and development is a high priority in my book. And what can you do with that time? Well, I encourage you to ask yourself the simple question, what brings me joy? Now, you can't say your children or your partner, of course they do, but step beyond that, be selfish. Ask yourself, what would I do if tomorrow was a day off work, a holiday day, given to me by my boss, and the mandate was, as long as you do something for you, how would you spend the day? There'll be an answer popping into your head. It might be going to the gym. It might be going for lunch with a friend. It might be going for a walk with the dog, playing golf, playing a musical instrument, sitting with a book. Take the time back from these mindset drainers and put them into the answer of the question, what brings me joy? And I guarantee you will get a significant uplift in your mindset. And when you do that, the foundation is built. It's amazing how we step into our day-to-day roles, personally and professionally, with a higher level of energy, a higher level of resilience, and a higher level of productivity. So I hope you found these three tips to enhance your mindset useful. I hope you do take up the challenges that I've articulated. I wish you the very best of luck with them. And as ever, please do feedback. Let me know what sort of results that you get as a consequence of putting some of these steps into play. Thanks for listening to the Lonely Leader podcast. I'd be very grateful if you could share and follow if the content resonates. And if you're looking for additional free resource to support your continued growth and development, then please do check out our social media and website details in the show notes. Remember, quality leadership on the outside must always start within.